Stepping Up, our second annual Student Teaching Showcase focusing on the scholarship of teaching and the student teachers who exhibit this scholarship daily within their classrooms. A peer review process was followed. Students who wished to share their work submitted their proposals. The planning committee read and rated them. 16 were selected. These student teachers were willing to take a risk, presenting their teaching scholarship on April 15, 2014, representing secondary, elementary, special education, and our GTC programs. The showcase has been a vision of teacher education for quite some time, an opportunity to highlight what students do best, teaching, to take that next step professionally and moving the program to the next level. The first student who shared her teaching scholarship was Allison Orth, entitled How to Make Daily 5 or 6 or 7 Work in Your Classroom, a session geared for those who wanted to know how to make English language arts time effective and efficient in your classroom for you and for your students. Come and experience a variety of activities and a detailed outline was provided that will help all candidates get the most out of their Daily 5 stations. Next, Nicole Matsky shared how to set up stations around the room for students to explore articles, flyers, plays, books, maps, etc., to become experts on a topic. Students were given the responsibility for their own learning and for teaching information to their peers. This activity incorporated differentiation and integration of multiple subject areas. Sarah Cheney, Visible and Artful Thinking. As educators, why do we not ask why more often? Visible and artful thinking brings high-level thinking and questioning into everyday classrooms by everyday teachers wanting to stretch students' minds. These strategies are engaging, thought-provoking, and illustrate deep levels of learning. Take your classroom on a journey that will push their thinking to limits that they would have never imagined possible. Two candidates, Maria Sali and Ariel Sang, Excellent Equations and Expressions. Their presentation proved that algebraic procedures could be interesting and eye-catching. They transformed two major lessons and units in algebra, solving multiple-step equations and FOIL, multiplying binomials, and a little bit of factoring, and made them into something memorable and fun to learn. When students are able to take interest and ownership in learning something new, especially in mathematics, it motivates them to do well. No matter how procedural algebra can be, it can also be inviting and colorful while being scaffolded and differentiated. Crystal Draveling and Cassidy Watts, Putting People First. They discussed how to address students with disabilities. They conducted mock conversations depicting right and wrong ways to address students. They also explored options for correcting students using inappropriate language and how to direct them to use person-first language instead. Putting the person before the disability was the focus of this presentation. Michelle Vader asked the question in Poverty and Education, did you know that 1 in every 5 American children lives in poverty? Among those living in poverty, less than half will graduate from high school. The pattern becomes cyclical, and as teachers, we can break it. Poverty in Education focuses on broadening awareness of childhood poverty while teaching strategies to make a positive difference. Lori Dykstra, Revamping Book Clubs in the Common Core Era. The Common Core Era would like students to be critical thinkers in regards to reading. We can change book clubs in a middle school setting to meet the needs of Common Core by adapting new roles which students can use and apply to any book. Students will be practicing, analyzing conflicts and characters, making inferences, and looking at how plot and theme develop. Jasmine Romani, Getting on Their Level, Connecting Content to What They Know. This presentation, Jasmine used several activities to hook the students who don't really want to be in school. We all know who they are, and they are still in school for different reasons, but none of them are there for pure enjoyment of textbook learning. The selected activities can be adapted to different subjects, including building a video game project, a fake online Facebook, and even introducing the Declaration of Independence with a high school breakup letter. Using these activities allows for not only upper-level thinking, but differentiated learning that keeps the students engaged. Stephen Proctor, using Google Earth to study thematic maps. In this scavenger hunt-style geography activity, students are familiarized with a location as they analyze photos in Google Earth, match them to an area of a thematic map, and create a report with photos representing multiple characteristics of the area. As students sift through photos, they begin to make observations and ask questions about the location as well. This activity is easy to differentiate for a range of abilities. Kristen Buzalski, KidBlog, a safe place for students to share. Do your students beg to publish their writing to a larger audience? Do they love to get comments and feedback from their peers? Are you unsure of a safe place for students to publish? Come and learn from Kristen about KidBlog, a free and safe site to use with students of all ages. Give students the ability to let their voices be heard. Emily Dietz, exploring ESL teaching strategies in K-8 classrooms. English language learners are the fastest growing student population in the United States, according to the U.S. Department of Education. Emily shared valuable and effective strategies to support second language learners in the classroom. Topics covered included differentiating instruction for ELL, scaffolding academic language success, and Common Core for bilingual students. Participants were given resources, tools, and tips to implement with their own students. Jacob Slepp, Function Graph Matching Activity. The activity presented was aimed at students who were trying to understand how graphs could be represented in words. Simple stories are particularly helpful for ESL or ELL students to understand the math they are learning. Jacob shared some wonderful graph matching activities. Kyle Summerfield, The Trial of Louis XVI. Do you like history to come alive? Do your students learn best when they can physically relate to a topic? In the recreation of the trial of Louis XVI during the French Revolution, students are able to put themselves in the trial. The events of the trial and the jury's decision lie in the hands of your students. An engaging presentation. Kelly Andrazik, Industrial Revolution, Tic-Tac-Toe. Kelly presented her tic-tac-toe board that she had created to differentiate the lesson for her students based on the Industrial Revolution. Casey Withers, Andrew Bittenbender, and CJ Scholl, practical examples of team building. Do you need help bringing your students closer? Have you ever wanted ideas for ways to do that? If so, Casey, Andrew, and CJ presented multiple activities for the students. They explored various team building activities to accomplish their goals. A very highly involved, motivating, and interactive presentation occurred. Alexi Fisher, all-around engagement with student whiteboards. Tired of calling on the same students to share their answers and ideas? Looking for a new way to keep all students involved and engaged in your lessons? This engagement strategy is a non-conventional way to provide your students with immediate feedback and redirection. The strategy shared could be adapted to meet any subject with guided reading and functions as a great formative assessment tool. To illustrate what occurred on April the 15th, there were 16 tables set around the room with approximately 10 to 12 chairs in front of them placed in a semicircle. Each presenter provided a handout to assist the participants with their takeaway memories. Students had the opportunity to attend 3 different presentations. Rotations occurred approximately 15 to 17 minutes into it. A bell signaled them to move. Prior to the next rotation beginning, door prizes were offered. Students had placed tickets into a basket and they were drawn at that time. Obviously, then students needed to be present in order to win. Snacks, as in all good activities, were provided in the center of the room, including chocolate, popcorn, and soft drinks. A special thanks to the planning committee for their work. Rosemary Cleveland, Megan Freudigman, Julie Lensick, Linda McCrae, Liz Story, Cheryl Vleetstra, and Raul Asasi. And a special thanks to Dean Collins for her consistent support.